In the previous sections, I've shown you how to get both Xcode and Android Studio installed so that we can run Flutter on the iOS simulator or the Android emulator. In this video, we are going to create a sample Flutter project right from the command line. And the purpose of this is just to verify that we can run Flutter on iOS and Android. Going forward, we will see how to configure a couple of different editors so that we can run Flutter directly from there, rather than from the command line. In any case, I think it's useful to know how to run Flutter from the command line, and so this is what we're going to do on this video. Alright, so first off, we're going to open a new terminal, and we're just gonna make this a little bit bigger so you can see. And if you remember, I had originally installed the Flutter SDK in the Documents folder. So I'm going to cd into Documents. And here we have our Flutter installation folder from before. So I think what I'm going to do is to create a new apps directory in here. So I will do make clear apps. And this is where I will be creating any Flutter projects going forward. So I'm going to cd into apps. In your case, obviously feel free to choose any directory on your machine. Alright, so now we're going to use the flutter create command to create a new Flutter project. And the way this works is by typing flutter create, and then we need to give it an application name. So I'm going to call this example app. And the next thing that is going to happen is that Flutter is going to create our project with all the required files that it needs to run, and we'll also run this flutter packages get command, which we'll see in more detail later. But in summary, what it does is to download all the dependencies that are needed by our Flutter app. Okay, so it looks like our Flutter app was created successfully. So next we're going to cd into our example app, and then we can type flutter run, which is what we need to run the app on the device. Now, because at the moment I've opened both the iOS simulator and the Android emulator, Flutter run tells me that I need to specify a device with the -d device ID option. So, and it's also listing the two devices that I can use to run at the moment. So I'm going to follow this advice and type flutter run -d, and let's try, for example, running this on iPhone. So what you can do here is either specify the name of the ID of the device, and then the command will work out what the right one to run is. So here I can just type flutter run -d iPhone, and what this is going to do now is to compile the application and run it on the iPhone simulator. Now this might take a little bit of time, especially the first time that you run the app. It's going to take some time because it needs to compile it with the native tools. So we are just gonna let it complete and take a little break here, and we'll come back once the application is up and running. Okay, so the app seems to be now running correctly on our iPhone simulator, which is great because it confirms that our iOS setup is all correct. So what we are going to do next is actually stop this and try to do the same on the Android emulator. So we can hit Ctrl+C to stop the app from running, and this time we're going to type flutter run -d, and this time we're going to choose the Android emulator, and I can just copy and paste the name from here. So once again, this is the first time we run this application on the emulator, so it might take a little bit of time to compile everything into native, but from this point onwards, it will then be quicker. So again, I'm going to take a little break and come back over here once the app is running on the emulator. Alright, so we can now see that our Flutter app is now running on Android as well. Okay, so on this video, we have seen how to create a new project with the flutter create command, and we have also seen how to run a Flutter app with the flutter run command, and how to specify which device to run with the -d flag. As a note, if you have only one device currently running, then you don't need to specify the -d flag, as Flutter will run automatically on that device. In the next videos, we're going to see how to configure some editors for coding with Flutter so that we don't need to use the command line anymore. And now there's a very good reason for that, because there are some really great development environments for Flutter, and we will see how powerful and productive they are in this course.